Welcome to the first Tilly Talks podcast. I'm your host, Tilly Hannan. My first guest has been through something very few people in the world can relate to. On April 25th, 2006, a 2.3 magnitude earthquake triggered an underground rockfall at the Beaconsfield gold mine in northern Tasmania. 14 miners immediately escaped the collapse, but 3 others didn't make it out in time. Tragically, Larry Knight was killed, and Todd Russell and Brant Webb found themselves trapped nearly 1,000 metres underground. Over the last 2 decades, many have heard the gripping story of the 2 surviving men. But in honour of the 20th anniversary of the Beaconsfield Mine Collapse, you'll hear a different perspective. The story from above ground through the eyes of a 12-year-old boy who spent 2 agonising weeks not knowing if his dad would make it. Let me introduce my first guest, Trent Russell, son of survivor Todd Russell. "20 years ago, something awful happened to you. You were 12 years old. I guess take me back to that time. What was going through your head?"
It's like 8, 9 o'clock at night. I remember being woken up by like a violent shake of my bed. You know, like living in Beaconsfield, you have tremors all the time, but this one was like the first time it had ever like fully shaken a bed. And I was like, this is strange, like this doesn't happen. And then, laid in bed for a bit. I remember the phone ringing and hearing my mum talking to somebody on the phone, and I like walked out to the kitchen, and she was like, you know, like just standing there, sort of staring into space, and I was like, you know, is everything okay? She was like, there's been an incident at the mine, like I'm not sure what's going on, and you know, me being 12 years old was like, okay, that's fine, just take your word for it, and you know, I was laying in bed, and I think over the course of that night, there was maybe two times that the phone rang again and the same thing. And so, you know, like I'm laying in bed, middle of the night going, okay, this is all so strange. I don't know what's going on. And so I would go out to my mom and be like, you know, what's going on? She's like, nothing, like everything's fine. Like, you know, come on, girl.
Come on, Caroline. I'm 12, but I'm smarter than that.
Literally. And so then, anyway, I think I must have drifted off to sleep at some point, and I woke up maybe it was 1, 2 o'clock in the morning to my auntie putting her like kids into bed with me, and I was like, okay, now something's up. This is too sus. Mm-hmm. Walked out to the lounge room, and I was pretty much like, okay, you got to tell me what's going on, and that's when she was like, you know, like there's been an accident, your dad's unaccounted for. We don't really know anything more than that. Like, we don't know whether he's alive, dead, but that's what happened.
As a 12-year-old, what were those emotions going through you?
To be honest, like it's sort of hard to remember. I imagine like it just would have been pure shock. But, you know, a lot of the emotional side of that I've kind of just blocked out, which is, you know.
Therapy.
Yeah.
I guess, what happened next? What followed this phone call? When you woke up in the morning, I guess, what was your family, what was your mum doing and saying?
Well, yeah, I mean, it was the same thing, you know, like from then on, it was just like a constant stream of people just showing up at the house all day. And, you know, then obviously they were like, you know, there's the 3 men missing. So we knew that, you know, by that point that he wasn't just coming back. He wasn't just unaccounted for, like he was underneath all of this rock. And so, yeah, I guess it was just like a constant stream of people. Like, you know, I remember just my cousins coming in and us like hugging and crying, and it was a wild time. And I guess like as a 12-year-old, you know, you sort of get the emotion of it, but at the same time, it was just like, whoa, like there's so many people here. This is crazy.
So initially you and your family, you had no idea if your dad was even alive?
No way.
And it wasn't until a week, is that correct?
Yeah. Took a whole week.
Talk me through that first week of, I guess, the unknown.
Well, yeah, I guess it was just a lot of waiting and, potential news and obviously, unfortunately, a few days in, they found the body of Larry Knight, which I guess sort of for me personally as a 12-year-old, I was like, that means that my dad's the same way. And so from that point on, I think I kind of just adopted that he was gone and then he wasn't coming back.
A week later, 7 days later, you found out he was alive. What was the feeling?
Just pure elation, I guess. Pure crazy joy. I remember, we'd sort of spent the day. My siblings and I and my mum and stuff were invited to a football game, sort of spent the day just doing that, trying to distract ourselves. And I remember we were just sitting at home and all of a sudden one of the managers from the mine just sort of burst in the front door and was like, they're alive. They're alive, crazy. And then my nan, who happened to be there at the time, she was bringing my brother and my cousins back, literally just ran out the door. Her house was just around the corner, so she ran around to her house and then started sort of shared the news there, and then from there she just ran down the street sort of shouting they're alive, and it literally just I'm literally getting goosebumps just talking about it, because I've been to music festivals, I've been to concerts, I've been to so many events and stuff, and you sort of get that hype and that the feeling of just community and stuff, but that it compares nothing to what I felt that night. I've never even come close to it, of just this entire town of people just lining the streets. You hear horns honking, you hear people shouting, the streets were lined. A town that's normally dead on a Sunday night by 6 p.m, it's 11 o'clock at night and there's just people everywhere. My nan's front lawn turned into pretty much just a massive party, and it was wild.
I've got goosebumps as well. I guess, what does that say about the community of Beaconsfield, though? And how supported did they make you feel and your family?
So supported, really. It was just, you couldn't go anywhere without sort of someone being I'm thinking of you, or coming up to you and speaking, but then also dropping off food, friends and family, or even, not necessarily super close family friends were coming and grabbing us for an hour or two and taking us to the beach and things like that. And I guess, that's so typical of small little towns in Australia, especially
Tasmania.
the little mining communities where everybody knows each other, and if it's happening to one person, it's happening to everybody,
And I guess you know the situation better than anyone. Can you reiterate the circumstances of which your dad and Brant were found?
They were the miners that were down under the ground were told not to go near the rockfall without permission, and these two guys snuck down there to sort of see if they could see if there was any hope, or they could find a way, or I mean, who knows what they were doing, but. My dad and Brant were talking music, apparently, and they both had very, very differing music tastes. My dad was straight country, grew up on Kenny Rogers, that kind of thing, whereas Brant was Foo Fighters, that kind of thing. So however, they met in the middle and found that they both knew the song The Gambler by Kenny Rogers. And so they started singing it together, and it just so happened to be that exact time that they were singing that together, the two men had snuck down to see them, heard them, and was well, there they are.
Me and you have discussed previously that we love all that witchy stuff. Do you think that moment, that had to be some sort of fate, some sort of destiny?
Absolutely, and there was so many things. I can't remember if it was a few weeks before or just before, my mum had this dream where she said that something happened to my dad underground. I was going back through the book and stuff, and I read that one of the rescuers saw a psychic a few a few months before, maybe to a year before, and she told him that he was going to save the lives of 2 people, ended up being one of the rescuers.
Whoa.
Like my brother to the footy game that we went to, like my uncle, he was very much like a skeptic about whether my dad was alive or not. And he said that the moment that changed for him was that my brother, they like, obviously you get a ticket for the footy, rip it in half, throw the other half on the ground. My brother, who was like 6 at the time, went, watched the footy, came back, and then while they were waiting to sort of leave, he was looking at the stubs on the ground and he literally picked up the other half of his stub and matched it like
That's so
completely
weird.
together. And my uncle was like, that's too much of a, it was like 16,000 tickets, I think, managed to pick.
His exact ticket up.
Yeah. So just a lot of weird, like, can be a stretch. There's coincidences in everything.
There are, but there's
many,
too
just
many
like-
coincidences in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You found out your dad and Brant are alive. I guess what happens next?
A lot of waiting, really. Like the second week, the first week I feel like was pure emotion. Like a lot of, are they, aren't they kind of stuff. Whereas knowing and having to wait was like worse. I think because it's like a lot of it was like they would think they found like a way to do it. And then they would come back to us and be like, oh, that's not going to work. So it's going to be another day, another 2 days, which totally fair enough. They've got like,
Yeah, there's like-
but as a 12-year-old, you're like, why can't it be now? Why not now? Get him out.
Yeah, hurry up, please.
Yeah.
I've got footy to play.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you don't have footy
Maybe
to play.
not me, but
I've got to show him a new dance I've made up.
you knew what?
No, I'm saying that's you.
Oh,
I've
yeah,
got new-
literally. Like, dancing and picking flowers on the football field.
I've got a
yeah.
new Destiny's Child dance to show you, Dad.
Literally.
But yes, what did happen next? I guess how disappointing was it to hear that it was another day, and were concerns growing by every day?
I mean, there was always the worry that, like, this is going to be the time, that everything that they were doing to try and help them was going to be the thing that killed them, So I guess there was always a little bit, of like, oh, it's just going to, whatever. But, I guess it's one of those, like, trust the process things. Like, I obviously didn't have really much of a say in it at that age, or like a full grasp on it. But I do remember just being like, oh, well, they're, doing what they're doing what they can. There's not really much I can do. Like, I can't go down there and do it.
Did your mum ever, I guess, express to you, even as an adult, how helpless she felt in that moment?
Not really, no.
Okay.
Like,
She's strong.
she is a strong girl. And I mean, like we've sort of had chats about it throughout the years and all of that. But, she called me her rock through that whole thing because I literally just did not leave her side. And sort of, so, I mean, like obviously, as a 12-year-old, you don't experience the same emotions, but, we didn't really need to talk a lot about it because we were going through the same thing at the same time. And like a lot of what, she saw and did, I already knew.
You already knew. Yeah. I guess what day, like when did it become accessible to speak to your dad?
Well, yeah, I guess I think it must have been like a day or two after they were found alive because they, put the pipe in, which can like give them communication. And then, then we were asked to like write letters, but the letters had to be like, what's the word, like vetted by psychiatrists and things like that first, which my mum was kind of like, I don't want that.
No.
Like, I want to be able to write what I want to write to my husband. Like,
Even
not,
on my business?
yeah, absolutely. And so she got a bit sneaky and we had to send clothes down. And so we all wrote tiny little like Post-it notes and like folded them up and really small and put them in like pockets of like clothing that we were sending down so that she could send like uncensored things. And like, I think to begin with, they weren't going to let him like even have like a photo of us like to send it down. I think my mum snuck one in.
Why do they ever tell you why? Like,
I think it was just like being the situation that they're in and such an enclosed space, like all of that, if they sort of had like a break of any kind, there's nowhere to go and there's nowhere to like, you know, hide from it, I guess. And you don't want to kind of ruin the morale, because they were laughing and joking with the rescuers.
What else
and
you
like,
got to do?
You know, making the most of it, like to not, you know, fall into that depression spiral. And so I feel like they were worried that this sort of thing could.
Right.
Whereas I feel like we were trying to do the opposite of like.
Yeah. I want to see what's in those letters, but I also just had a thought, like, that psychiatrist probably had never, ever had to think about a scenario like that before.
Nope.
And I wonder what they were, they were probably just being overly cautious, but like, what a bizarre, imagine getting a call up as a psychologist being like, hey, we've got this situation.
Yeah.
Two men stuck in a mine, 1,000 metres underground.
Absolutely.
What do we do? They're probably standing there like,
no hope.
I don't know.
I mean.
I don't know. Like, they didn't teach us this at Utah.
Yeah,
like,
no,
what do you
you
mean?
definitely don't get taught that.
No.
But I guess, you know, that was the same for a lot of the people though.
Yeah.
Like a lot of, so like what they did sort of to get them out even was like, they were using old technology but in new ways to like do it, because like, I really should have done my research before this, but I can't remember if it was like a vertical drill that they had to make move horizontal or vice versa.
Oh, yeah.
And so like it had never been used that way. I'm guessing like a vertical drill to horizontal, because I think it was a horizontal tunnel, but.
Something like that.
Regardless, either way. And so that was the same. Like it was just, again, which plays, I guess, into the part of like why it took as long as it did that last week. Because it wasn't just so much them like reaching in and grabbing. It was that, you know, certain things were too hard to drill through. So it's like they had to literally reinvent the wheel to do it.
Do you know if they ever got in anyone? Like, was it all just the Beaconsfield Mine crew? So they had to get people from other places to come down?
Absolutely. There was a man, Darren, who, you know, became a bit of a family friend to us, who was from the mainland. He was like an explosives expert. So he came down to give them advice. And I think, from memory, I think it was like people from all over.
Yeah, okay. And now take me back to these letters. Can you take me back to, I guess, what you and your family snuck in your dad's jeans? Like, what was in some of the notes?
I think I only have a copy of one of those. And it was literally just like from me that said, "Hi, Dad, I love you so much. See you soon. Love, Trent."
Aw. And then, aw. Aw.
And sent him down. I call them Scoobies, but whenever I say that to people, they don't get it. But
I know what a Scooby is.
Yeah, like the like
I don't think
plastic.
I don't think we called them Scoobies though. We called them. No, maybe we did. I don't know.
Like the plastic strings that you braided up into like
and little bracelets. Yeah.
And I made him one of those into a bracelet.
What colour was it?
Red.
Fully red.
Fully red. And then my mum used a lighter and melted the ends together to make like a bracelet.
Yeah.
Sent that down to him.
And how many like notes do you reckon your family sent Dad secretly?
I think that was only the first time, just as like, you know, let's just see what we can do and get away with. But we also got like obviously official notes, which I have like back and forth.
I guess what was some of the stuff you were saying to your dad and vice versa while he was there?
It was mostly just like, you know, casual chit chat, like, you know, 12-year-old, you're not writing like you know, a memoir letter. But I think I was sort of just giving him insight about what was going on. Like I remember writing in there about our dog who used to go to the mine because he could smell the barbecue. Like they would cook a barbecue up there every morning, and every morning he would bolt out the gate and disappear up there. And then the press kind of like turned it into like, oh, he's going up there to search for his master, and then literally came to our house and asked to interview our dog.
So me, the media, but me saying the media, but the media, they like kind of made up this story that the dog was...
Yeah, but it was the barbecue. They cooked a barbecue, massive egg and bacon barbecue every day. And that's what the dog was going for.
The dog was just a fatty. He didn't actually have any sentimental...
Harley was
What kind of dog was it?
a Labrador.
Oh my God, cute though.
But I remember like my auntie, like there was like a knock on the door and she was kind of like bodyguard, like opened all the doors. But a journalist was really like, hey, we're here. We just hope we could interview the dog. And she was like, are you serious? And they were like, yeah, no, like we want to interview your dog. And she was like, I mean, you can go for it, but, you know, he's not going to say
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think he speaks your language.
They fully like, you know, there's like a shot. I can literally see the shot so vividly like in my head of them on the news, and it's just like the dog behind the gate just like...
Did it have a super, like his name?
Yeah, it had. I'm pretty sure it had his name on it.
Other than those little secret notes, what else? What other communication did you have with your dad?
Yeah, so there's obviously the letters to keep up appearances, so that they were like, "Yep, we're obviously sending letters." We did write like letters that were vetted by the psych, which I do have if you want me to.
Yeah, let's listen to some.
So I said, "Hi, Dad. Did you hear that Harley was up at the mine looking for you?" Which is the dog we were just talking
You started
about.
the rumours.
I must have started the rumour, jeez. I hope you get to keep the MP3 player so you can give it to me. Mel and Koshy signed my book. I can't wait until you get out. I am going back to school tomorrow. Well, that's all now. I have to go to bed. Good night. Love from Trent. P.S. Hi, Bran.
Hi, Bran.
It's thoughtful back in those days as well.
You did a full job as a 12-year-old. Oh, my gosh. But what was this MP3 player?
Oh, so like after they were found, and like because I guess like music played a part in them being found, they were like, we'll give them MP3 players, which they loaded up. And obviously back then it was like those little like...
I know the ones.
I'm sure the iPod existed, but not in Beaconsfield. But yeah, so like I'd literally before then had like a Walkman CD, so I was like, I'm just looking forward to...
Getting that
I
MP3.
have 30 songs on my MP3 player.
Dad's stuck in a mine, but I might get an MP3
literally,
player.
You know, priorities.
Priorities. How important was that to communicate, to be able to communicate with your dad during something so difficult?
I mean, it was nice. I guess like it kind of made it more real. I don't know, because like I sort of had accepted the fact that he was dead, and hearing that he was alive kind of messes with that, because it's like, no, like this person's gone. So you sort of got to re-deal with that. So I guess like actually hearing from him and speaking to him in that aspect, like even though it was just through letters and not like, you know, voice or anything, it kind of was like, oh, okay, he's fine.
Did he ever write, do you have a letter of what he wrote back to you?
Yeah, I can. So it was... to Trent, how are you, mate? They tell me you've taken over the man of the house role. Great to hear that. When we get out, Brant has offered to give up his MP3 player so that you can have it, not him.
No, not Todd.
Already has Foo Fighters music on it. Keep looking after Mum and see you soon. Love, Dad. P.S. Clean your bloody room.
Standing true, though. That gives a bit of normalcy.
It does. And like, you know, if it had have been like a pour your heart out letter, I would have been a bit like, what's going on?
Is he dying? Like,
yeah, well,
yeah.
you know.
Do you even like the Foo Fighters? That's a contentious topic in Launceston.
I don't hate the Foo Fighters. I'm not like obsessed.
But at 12 years old, were you obsessed with the Foo Fighters?
I don't even think I knew who they were at 12 years old.
No.
Probably.
He should have said Lady Gaga. Beyonce, probably actually. 12.
Yeah, true. Oh, 2006. Beyonce's around.
Beyonce was there. Gaga was getting there. But would your dad have even known who Lady Gaga was
Probably
then?
not.
No, exactly.
Probably still doesn't to this day.
So the situation was worldwide news. You know, you had media networks from across Australia in Beaconsfield, which is already abnormal. And I reckon, you know, some further afar. I guess, what was the attention like for you? Like, who was there? What was sort of those starstruck moments?
It was wild. Like, I mean, from you know, Beaconsfield, small town, to literally just turning into like the biggest media circus you've ever seen in your life. Like, you know, there's a park in Beaconsfield, and it was literally like covered with like camper vans, tents, you know, like media personalities, just full everywhere. Like, we would come out of our front door, stand on like our front lawn, and like look up on the hill above our house, and it would just be like a row of people just like clicking and like taking pictures of us just standing on the front lawn. It's like, you know, as a 12-year-old kid, you're like, woo, I'm famous. Then looking
like
back, and it's like, oh my God, what are you doing?
Did you feel like a celebrity?
A little bit, you know, you at that age, you kind of like, wow, I'm
Who was that kind of more like the most famous news personality you met?
Oh, Koshi and Mel for sure. Like we were a sunrise family, you know. My mum would have it on every morning when we got up to get ready for school. And so, yeah, seeing them in person was like,
Wow.
you know, meeting the bloody queen. It was, you know, the best thing that could have ever happened to me at 12 years old. Aim higher, but
In juxtaposition to the worst thing happening.
yeah, literally. Exactly.
What you like had a bit of a chat with Koshi though?
Yeah. So I had a copy of his joke book, which I was like, you have to sign for me. So I have a signed copy of Koshi's joke book from that time.
God.
But yeah, we had I had a chat on my like nan's front lawn.
On camera or just like?
No, just as is.
How did you and your family cope with the, constant media attention? Was it 2 weeks of just cameras everywhere?
I mean, it was longer than 2 weeks. It was quite a while after, sort of anywhere you went. Like, like obviously the attention dies down in Beaconsfield, but it's like, you go on a plane somewhere and it's like people in the airport. Or like, wild that people care that much about a picture of, a random family.
How did you and your family cope with that constant media attention?
I mean, it just depended on the day. Like obviously it got to a point where it became frustrating. So, you sort of get less like, no, like...
You get a bit desensitized maybe?
That, but then also like, it just becomes like, oh my God, again.
Right.
Like again.
It's just annoying.
Like I have so much so much empathy for like anyone that's in the spotlight, because like for the 6 months that this happened, which it wouldn't even be to the same degree that people do, it does just become so annoying, like annoying.
Yeah.
That you can't go anywhere without someone wanting to take a picture with you or like talking to you or like holding you up or like...
I guess your mum though, during the frenzy, she found some creative ways to avoid the media. Can you tell me a bit more about that?
There was a moment that she was standing on the street with my uncle, like my dad's brother, and a reporter actually came up to her and was like... Came up to my dad's brother and was like, I was hoping if I could get an interview with you. And he was like, no way. And he was like, would your dad be up to it? And my uncle was like, nah, that's like not that either. And he was like, okay, thank you. Did not even realise that it was my mum standing there. Turned around and walked away.
Oh my God.
And then like of a night she would like to go, like, because she worked at the mine, she knew everyone involved, all of that sort of stuff. She would go up to the mine every night to sort of like, chat with her friends and like work colleagues and stuff. And to do that, all she had to do was literally put a hoodie on and a pair, like some maybe sunglasses, I'm not sure, but I think it was literally just a hoodie, and she could walk right past everybody or drive just past, and she would take a different car every night. Like someone else would take her up.
That's iconic actually. That's like diva behaviour from her.
It's crazy. There's, I'm not going to get too much into it because I'm sure there's some whack stuff in there, but it was even a point where like, friends of ours had like a video camera and were like literally walking amongst the media, videoing them like, and themselves like just being like, you guys are idiots.
Yeah.
Like, they're literally like right here.
Oh,
the thing you're chasing is walking like right past you.
The people that you were referring to will laugh at this.
Yeah, I'm sure they would, because it's like just so silly that they're like, we really want this story, and the person that they're wanting to talk to is literally walking right by them at any given moment.
No, that's good though.
Or you approach them on the street, didn't even recognise them.
It. That is a little bit embarrassing.
Then
Let's
there's the
say that
opposite.
was the mainland media.
Yeah, maybe. But then there's also the opposite. Like I remember there being so many like pictures of my mum.
And it wasn't your mum?
And it wasn't even her.
Who was it? Were they just
Just
randos?
random neighbours, like random members of the public.
What did you ever speak to any of them and then being like, why am I on the front page of the Examiner?
so we actually knew the woman. Like the one I can remember was like a family friend, and she was like literally just pushing, I think she was pushing a pram, which my mum did not have.
Yeah, how old was
kids.
Liam when it happened?
6.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's the youngest. So she was literally just walking along, and I think they printed her picture or videoed her and put it on the news with like Carol and Russell underneath it, and she was like, that's not me. And they look like semi-similar, like, you know, like not even
They were just
close.
a woman from
They were
Beaconsfield
both like
with a bangs or
women with
something.
like, literally, with like the same hair colour. That was it.
Oh my gosh. So the day Todd and Brent got out, I guess, how did your day start?
Early. I think it was like 4 a.m. My mum woke me up and she was like, you know, we need to get ready. They're coming out. And so then from there, obviously, quickly got ready, drove up to the mine, and they put us in like a room up there where we had to sit for another, I'd say like an hour and a half, just waiting, which felt like, again, eternity after a week of waiting for the same thing. And then, yeah, we were led sort of like down some stairs to the platform where, you know, the video that everyone knows of them coming out, like where that was. And they had like big tarps sort of set up around to keep the view out of like it just being his like immediate family, like Brant's immediate family and like close people. And then, yeah, like a media platform with like one journalist representative from each. And then, yeah, just stood there for, again, what felt like, God, forever. And, yeah, sure enough, I think it was like, what, nearly 6 a.m. that the elevator comes up, doors open. And, yeah, we were just given the instructions that my mum, you know, my mum goes first, hugs him, then we go, then my dad's like, you know, like sisters, mum and dad and stuff. And then, so that sort of is how it happened. Got to give them a massive hug. And then they dropped the tarps that were like around the outside, and it was so wild. Like there was like probably 200 people just behind these tarps who then just like, it just converged in this big group, like loaded them up into the back of the ambulances and then zoop, out they went.
Explain the feeling of them walking out alive.
Again, as I said, like a lot of the emotion stuff is like, you know, hard to remember. I do just remember it just being like a crazy wave of just like, I don't even know what, like, you know, it's like happiness, sad, like, you know, like 2 weeks of just like really strong emotions for such a young kid kind of like coming to a head and just kind of like exploding into this weird feeling, I guess, like that. It's hard to even name what it was feeling. I guess if that makes sense.
How on every anniversary, how does it feel a little bit more further away? Is it something you're able to deal with and cope with a bit more?
Absolutely. Like to me now, it feels like a fever dream. Like obviously, you know, the first few years we sort of would celebrate it or like, you know, mark it in some way or another. But then over the years, I guess it's just become less and less important to mark it. Like, you know, we all remember it. It's a weird, like, I don't know, I guess like every time around Anzac Day, I feel like I do sort of become a bit more introspective and just like sort of hits me in a way that like, not necessarily sadness, but just like, oh, gotta like mark my piece with it and then sort of move on from it. But yeah, as of right now, like, feels like a fever dream. Like when people bring it up, I go, oh yeah, that did happen.
Yeah, that was real life.
Yeah, it was.
Do you and your family often hang out on that day?
Again, we used to. And I think this year, like being 20 years, I think my dad's, you know, organising like a big sort of like anniversary thing. But in the last few years, not really. Like I think it's just now become part of the family history rather than being something that's like at the forefront, I would say.
Are you still getting, I guess, media attention? Obviously, you're on a podcast right now, but we're friends. But like, you were asked to be interviewed by the ABC. Yeah,
so that was the first time I've ever personally been asked outside of like, you know, being a sort of side addition to my dad. Yeah, I got to do a show called I Was Actually There with ABC last year, which was really fun. Pretty interesting and like a nice little way to sort of tell my story, I guess.
So your dad's walked out of the mine alive. What happens next?
So they were whisked whisked away to the LGH, like hospital in Launceston. And then I was like, my siblings were taken home, and then my mum, me, and a few family friends and like some family members got into like vans, and they transported us up to the hospital as well. And again, like walking into the hospital was like, it was like walking into the bloody red carpet, because it was just like flashes of cameras, people trying to get pictures. I remember being videoed, like it was wild. And then, yeah, my dad sort of got checked out enough to sort of like, you know, for them to be fine. He checked himself out. I think it was like an hour or two later. So it was fully like, I'm done. I want to go home. Went home, got changed, and then he attended the funeral of Larry Knight.
You can't speak for your dad, but I guess how important do you think it was for him to be able to attend that moment?
Oh, very, I reckon. I think like all the media attention and that like obviously focused a lot on my dad, but there is still the really like horrifically sad part that a man did lose his life. And I think for my dad, it was important for him to sort of show solidarity, not only as like a colleague and like a friend, but as like, you know, you're going through something so much worse than what we are right now. Like we've got a, you know, good side of this. And unfortunately, like, it's just a casualty of the whole thing.
Yeah. And it's crazy to even think about that, being trapped 1,000 metres underground is a positive thing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and you know, that's the thing. It's all
that's
relative.
The severity.
It's all
of
relative, isn't it?
Of
like,
the situation, of how I guess devastating the whole.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first conversation you had with your dad?
I don't remember like specifically. I do remember there was a conversation had, I don't know, like while he was still in hospital, and he was basically like, you don't have to go to school for the next month. Like we're going to be doing like, so much. I think it was just like the hype of like, everything's going, you know, I'm out. We're going to do this. I never want to like leave anyone again. And then being so excited as a kid, being like, oh, I don't have to go back to school for another month. And then the next day he was like, no, you
got to go to school.
You can't have to go back to school.
What happened when you went to school? Were you a big celebrity?
A little bit. Like, I mean, obviously, I only went to school one day in the 2 weeks that they were there. So I really didn't have any contact with like most of the people. Like, you know, spoke to like school friends who would like come and visit. But hadn't really think, and it was a weird, I feel like you kind of feel like, I don't know, like people are trying not to offend you. I don't know. It's like, it's a hard thing to sort of put into words, but it's like, because people weren't necessarily like being nice and like things like that, but it's like, it was just this feeling of like, oh, we've got to tiptoe around him. Like he's obviously going through something. Whereas I was like, I just want to like get back to normal.
Yeah.
I want to get back, like get on with it.
Yeah.
Put this behind me. Like I don't want you to treat me like I've, you know, had my special treatment.
I know. That would have been hard. That would have been hard because, it would have been...
And it didn't, like, because, like, I was grade 6 and that even bled into, like, the first year of, like, high school, moving to a different school, the teachers there obviously all knowing about it and still being like, oh, you know, like, he's like a delicate little boy.
Wallflower, yeah. But it was the opposite.
Yeah, apparently.
The days after your dad and Brent were rescued, what was the media response there?
Again, it was like everyone's looking for a story, you know, like they want to be the first one there to speak to him and to kind of get the scoop before anybody else. And, you know, like again, funny little story of him like driving past all the media on the day that he got out, being like, I'm going to give a press conference at the community hall in 5 minutes, like meet you there. And like all of the media like took off and he went to the pub, had a drink with his friends.
Oh my God, that's iconic. That's diva behaviour from your dad.
The only person that cottoned on, Eddie Maguire.
Oh, so Eddie was at the pub. What did they talk about?
I'm guessing a deal because...
The deal, the 9 News deal,
that's who they signed with, yeah. So, you know...
Sometimes it pays
to
be
what
the
you
pub.
will.
Yeah, okay. So then your dad's obviously signed this deal with Nine, but Sunrise was doing stuff in the background that he wasn't allowed to attend. What was that about?
Yeah, so like Sunrise had put on this massive, like, we're going to broadcast live. I can't remember exactly how soon after, but like it was like maybe a few weeks. And so like, you know, they had like Steve Irwin going and like all of this. So like as a Sunrise family, as like 12-year-old kids, we were like, this is going to be the best day of our lives. So we're so keen to go and like see all of this stuff. And then midnight the night before, my dad signs a deal with Channel 9, who then say, you can't appear on Channel 7 until after we've done our like little piece. And so like we woke up in the morning at like 5 o'clock being like, yes, we're going to go see Sunrise. And then they had to be like, sorry.
And Steve Irwin was there.
Steve Irwin was there.
And that
which is like 4 months before he died, I think.
That's wild.
Yeah.
How disappointed were you as a 12-year-old that you couldn't meet Steve Irwin?
Very. So, I mean, consolation prize. We did, they like, obviously like not being able to attend, us being disappointed, they must have somehow communicated that to Sunrise, because like on his way out, Steve Irwin drove past our house and like gave us a wave. Like,
that is actually cool. That's actually cool.
So,
How
like,
many people can say that?
Didn't get to meet him, but got to see him drive past and wave out the window. Like,
that seems like a very on-brand Steve Irwin thing to do as well.
I think so.
Yeah.
It's just a funny little thing. And then, yeah.
So you got to say hello to Steve Irwin in a way, I guess. What was one of the other crazy things that came out of this situation?
Again, just like all of the opportunities that were like given to us, I guess, afterwards. Like I had never in like my 12 years of living been on a plane ever in my life. My first ever flight was on the Prime Minister's private jet.
That's sick. Describe it to me.
First ever.
What does it look like?
Literally like a little private plane, private, like, you know, anything you want, they'll make it for you. Anything you want to drink, anything you want to eat. And I just remember being like, this is living. And my mum was like the whole flight being like, don't get used to this. This is not what flying's like. And we were like, come on, girl. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. This is luxury.
This is my life from now on. Was John Howard on the plane?
No. So we were going to Parliament House. We're holding like a big, like, I guess like gala benefit sort of dealio. And for all the survivors, all the rescuers, all their family members. And so as part of that, we got to croon over on the private plane.
First class luxury experience.
Yeah.
When you were in Canberra, you also had dinner at the Governor General's house?
I did, yes. So yeah, part of that was that night we, had dinner at the Governor General's residence.
At 12 though, did you even know what the Governor General was?
I had no idea who this man was at all. I do remember just being like, I love this man because I remember the dinner that they had set out for us was like real fancy food. And so it was sort of like a table of adults and then it was us and like the Governor General's grandchildren. Like, and I remember looking at the menu and like sort of leaning over to my mum being like, I don't want to eat any of this. And then he was like, you know, like, what's the problem? And my mum was like, oh, you know, like the kids aren't used to this sort of food. And
literally
like,
12 and from Beaconsfield.
Literally. And he was like, what the hell are they doing? And literally called over the thing and was like, you need to make chicken nuggets and chips for these kids.
After Canberra, you went to Sydney. What happened in Sydney?
So we went to a barbecue at Tracy Grimshaw's house. I know, she's iconic. Loved her. She was the nicest lady.
Was she on?
So
what was on the
kind.
menu this time? Was she also down to earth?
It was just, very barbecue vibe, you know. Went and checked out her horses. She had this like massive property just, like, again, I'm going off memory here.
You're 12, I get
it. Don't know exactly where
We
she
probably
lives, but
shouldn't
it was
say
like,
where Tracy Grimshaw lives anyway.
probably not. Just outside the city, and it was like this big like rural property. It was stunning.
That's very down to earth.
Very down to earth. Huge, stunning. But yeah, like just I'm pretty sure it was just like a barbecue and salady situation. Just hung
Was
out
it
at her
just,
house for the afternoon.
Like Tracy and her fam, or who else was there?
I'm pretty sure it was just her.
Okay. And it was your fam?
Yeah.
And was it Brant?
And Brant,
Oh, yeah.
Brant and his family as well.
Okay. And you and your family specifically, I guess, developed a relationship with Tracy over the next following months after your dad was rescued.
I think so, because I think she handled most of their like story.
Media,
like, all
liaison.
Of the, but like, you know, anytime they spoke, I think was mostly with her. Like the big story that they did was with her when they first came out. And then like a few years later, again, I think she did something else as well. So I think it was just like the trust and like building that relationship and stuff. And then, And so then, from there, we had to fly home coach, which was a humbling experience for a 12-year-old
Put you on Jetstar.
who just flew private.
Yeah.
I was like,
not
oh
even
my
private.
God.
Private,
The
yes.
most
but
private.
The most private. The probably elite level in Australia of flying.
Yep.
And now you had to
absolutely.
get sent home on Jetstar. Mm-hmm. Were the TVs in the seats at least?
I can't remember. But yeah, I just remember being with my grandparents, like on the flight back, just being like, "This is disgusting."
Enough.
I can't.
Call the Prime Minister.
I'm not used to this kind of behaviour.
No. It set you up for failure.
It did.
John Howard.
Yeah.
Blaming
My
him.
expectations. Yeah. So
Thanks a
high.
lot, John Howard.
Yeah.
A couple of days before your parents were meant to go be on Diane Sawyer in America, which is also iconic in itself, you were at home and they were with Tracy Grimshaw again. Again, iconic.
Yeah.
But you kind of were struggling as a 12-year-old. What happened there?
So my parents went to America, as you said, to appear on Diane Sawyer, Good Morning America or whatever it is. First time we've ever been away from my parents for long periods of time. We, staying with a friend of mine and obviously just, everything that's already happening on top of my parents not being there for the first time, upsetting, got really upset. And so I must have messaged or called my mom just being like, I miss you, like something,
Normal 12-year-old behaviour.
Exactly. And so she called me and then spoke to me on the phone from America. And I was obviously pretty upset. And so she's like, oh, I've got someone here who wants to talk to you. And so she put Tracy Grimshaw back on the phone.
You guys are family friends at this point.
I'm
she's like Auntie
here.
Tracy now.
Yeah, literally. And she was like, I understand that you're really upset. Is it I will do anything for you.
Anything in the world.
Anything in the world.
Tracy Grimshaw will give it to you.
You get a bit of flack for this nowadays, but I was obviously the biggest Harry Potter fan as a kid.
Nothing wrong with Harry Potter. Just think, we all know what I'm going to say. I'm not going to say it. Daniel Radcliffe is fine. Daniel Radcliffe is fine.
So she was like, I'll put you in contact with anybody. I'll get you can speak to somebody. I'll send you something, anything. And I was like, I want to talk to Harry Potter. And then she was like, probably can't do that. I'll see what I can do.
What did she do?
And then I think it was a few days later, I received a giant atlas signed by Tracy Grimshaw, hope you're feeling better, from Tracy in the mail.
So that was replacement of Daniel Radcliffe.
Of speaking to Harry Potter, yeah.
She literally...
Which, set your expectations lower, kid.
Well, Tracy Grimshaw, still then and now, was a big
absolutely.
name. She has access to big names.
True.
But she could have just put any random person with a British accent on and you would have believed it.
Yeah, absolutely. She could have done it herself and I would have been like, oh.
That is Hermione Granger.
Yeah, literally.
But also...
But, in her defence.
She didn't want to lie to you, maybe.
Yeah.
But also, I'm trying to think of who
integrity.
even is, in 2006, a young person that we would have been interested in.
In Australia?
Yeah, in Australia.
God.
Who's Jack Vidgen? Was that? No, that was later.
That was
later. I don't know. Reese Maston was later too. I don't know. Steve Irwin. She could have got Steve Irwin on the phone again.
True.
Anyway.
No, been there, done that.
Do you still have the Atlas?
Yeah, I think I do. Yep, I think it's at my mum's
Have you
house.
learnt much from it?
I used to read it all the time. So thanks, Tracy.
So your dad and mum featured on Diane Sawyer. There were media appearances, across the country. But then a couple of years later, the film came out. I guess how accurate, would you say from your perspective, but how accurate does your dad say the film is?
Pretty accurate. So I think essentially they were like, we're either going to base this film off the book, which he helped write, and you can help us or you're not. And so he was pretty involved in doing it. So I guess, you've obviously got to add in some dramatics.
Of course.
It's film. It is what it is. So I think probably 80, 90%.
What about your character and the way it kind of played out, you and your mum? Do you think that was pretty accurate?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And they consulted you, didn't they?
You
got to speak to them, yeah.
A little bit, I think, from memory. But yeah.
Not many people know this, though, a little fun fact, but you were actually in the movie as not Trent Russell, as just a random extra. Tell me about that.
So, asked, like the film crew people were coming to Beaconsfield to film some scenes they obviously couldn't do on the mainland. And they were like, we need extras. And I was like, cool. So I was a college drama kid. I was like, this is my big moment. Asked the drama department and they sent like a heap of students down to do the same thing.
That's kind of iconic for Launceston College though. Like, well, were they super excited?
They were very excited, I think. Just like a fun little experience.
And claim to fame in a way.
Yeah.
I would love to have been in that movie.
Yeah. Shame we didn't know each other.
No, I was too young then. I'm so much younger than you. But what was... actually, I think we should get up a shot of you in the movie. The brief minute of you standing by a fire. Is that what it is?
No, I'm just standing on the front lawn.
Oh, okay. But who else from your family were in the movie? Your nan played herself.
So my nan played herself because she didn't have a speaking role in the movie, but she was sort of like a background, which is really nice. Like, you know, she's no longer with us now, so it's a nice little like immortalisation.
That is really nice.
Her.
That's your dad's mum?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and were your siblings in the movie?
Yes, I believe so. I don't know how much you can see of them, but they were definitely there. Yeah.
Obviously, there was like some pretty famous actors in the movie. There was Shane Jacobson. Did you get to meet any of them?
All of them. So the people that played my mum and dad stayed with us when they did the filming in Beaconsfield. I think it was like, obviously they probably could have gotten a hotel, but I think it was just like...
Method acting.
Yeah, maybe. But I think it was just like, you know, let's get to know you guys. Yeah. Okay, we're playing you. We need to sort of work all this out, which is great because like Michaela Bannis, the chick that played my mum, we've sort of kept a little bit of a relationship there. Like I think we had, you know, breakfast with her in Hobart when she was down one time, and you know, sort of just like brief little interactions here and there with her, which is good. So made family friend out of it. But yeah, and then the rest, I think. I sort of obviously met through like the filming and stuff. So like got to meet Kenny, Shane Jacobson.
Kenny.
Which was kind of a sleigh.
Yeah, that is kind of a sleigh.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So obviously the years that followed, you know, your family's lives changed dramatically from, all these media appearances, a movie, a book, you know. I guess... At one point, you were probably the most talked about family in Australia. How did your life change post-rescue?
It was just a whirlwind, like a real wild couple of years of just like, you know, like we were gifted like trips and things like that, which we did. So it was all sort of fun and games until like, you know, everything sort of calmed down again, where it's like reality sort of hits back in. And there's just that elephant in the room because like, you know, unfortunately, we never really spoke about this as a family. We sort of just accepted that we both had our, like, you know, my dad has his experience. We have our experience, and we never really like put those together and like discussed it or like, you know, sought really any professional help about it either. Like I think we had like a few little counselling sessions during and like slightly after, but probably should have
had a couple more.
How
hard was that to have that disconnect within the family?
It was hard, and I feel like, you know, the less we spoke about it, the more the disconnect became. Do you know what I mean? Because as I said, like it does become this big elephant in the room of like, you know, we're all feeling some type of way about this situation. It's all affected us so differently that like by not talking about it, it makes it worse.
Yeah. And has that carried on with you throughout your adult years?
Absolutely. Like I definitely have now dealt with my shit, for lack of a better term.
We've all got to do it.
But it did take me a really long time. I think I was maybe 21 when, so what's that?
Nearly 10 years.
Yeah, nearly 10 years afterwards. And so that helped a lot of just like compartmentalizing it, and, you know, like it led to so many strange like characteristics. Like I have such a weird relationship with death because of this. It's like, you know, I sort of didn't really put two and two together until like my psychiatrist was like, you know, like you essentially mourn somebody who didn't die.
And someone who's one of the closest people in your family.
Literally. And she's like, you know, like I've always just had like I don't know, like when people die, it's not like a less of a, I don't know, it doesn't feel as permanent as it probably should.
Yeah, that would be really hard. That would be
It's
really
a strange
distressing.
thing because it's like, you know, you still get upset and you still like, you know, it still obviously affects you, but it's kind of like, okay, then maybe they'll come back.
Yeah. God,
You know?
that is hard.
Even though you know it's not.
You know that,
you know.
obviously.
Yeah.
I guess, how did your relationship with your dad play out after this happened? I assume he was, I guess, busy a lot?
So he had a lot of commitments, which obviously, like, you know, puts a bit of a strain on things and, like, you know, wasn't around as often, you know, sort of, I guess, which totally fair enough, got caught up in the media hype and the, like, whirlwind of what came after. And obviously, even though it stopped for us, it never really stopped for him because it was like, then you have to do a book, then you have to do the movie, then there's an interview. Every year they want to talk to you about this. So it's like, you know, then public speaking. So it's like he would just, you know, gone and like living this kind of like, I guess like almost celebrity-ish life that like we sort of, again, caused a bit of disconnect with our family. And, you know, like my dad and I, we have always, you know, had a bit of a strained relationship. We're just two very different people that, you know, see the world two very different ways. And that's, you know, that's not on him, not on me. That's what it is. Like we've always just had a differing opinion. But I think that made it worse, you know, again, because it's like, okay, well, you're not even here to like, to do this.
Yeah.
So.
How hard was that as a child to not have your dad around?
It was pretty hard, but again, it's something that you like get used to, I guess, which is, you know, strange to say. But it's like, again, like, I guess for me personally, while my dad was underground and like all this was going on, I, as he said in that like letter, that I did kind of take on the man of the house role. And so from then on, I kind of did take on that role, you know, like I very much was like, my dad was like in and out all the time, but I was always there. So I became the like constant, I guess.
At 12 years old,
At
though.
12 years old.
That's difficult.
I know.
And then I guess, you know, you grew up and went through life experiences, some that your dad may or may not have agreed with initially.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, like growing up in like a small mining town as a, you know, gay man presents a lot of challenges in itself. But, you know, again,
Being under that spotlight as well.
Yeah. And also like, you know, my dad had his views, I have mine. Thankfully, we're, you know, at a much better place these days. It's taken a really long time to get there. It's only been the last probably 6 months or so that we've like properly come together and really just made an agreement of like where
we love each other.
We love each other. There's, you know, there's a difference of opinion here. There's a like as I said, we're two very different people. We see the world differently, and that's okay. We just need to meet in the middle. And we're, you know, at a place now where we're working really hard on trying to build a relationship around those parameters instead, which is great. But yeah, for a long time, we didn't really have much of a relationship.
Why do you think it took your dad so long?
I think, again, like he was very much that macho, like we don't talk about it, feelings don't happen, like it is what it is. But I think in, you know, he's become quite unwell in the last few years, which I think has sort of made him reflect and realise and sort of take those steps to like better himself to in a way that like, you know, can meet sort of me where I'm at rather than like us being on two different levels.
Well, thank you, Trent, for sharing your perspective on a defining moment in Australian history. You've been a great guest.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure.
And to my first-time listeners, thank you for tuning in. Until next time.